Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's first video. We're going to do the third and final Autumn 2019 Season 1 roundup for today's first video. So we're going to get something like 12 or 13 long range models together, see what they're all showing for the Autumn 2019 for the third and final time. And then once this one is out of the way, then that's it. We did the last Autumn Analogues update last Sunday. So if the analogues are done, once this is out of the way, then so too are the long-range models, and all that will remain is to bring it all together in the GWV Autumn forecast that is going to be released on Saturday, week today, Saturday the 31st of August. So getting very, very close now to the very end, but we have got this final season model roundup to do for you, see what all long range models are showing for the final time this season. The weekend forecast will be coming up later on today, and we're also going to have a week to 10 day video update, but a week to 10 day video update. That video will be on the homepage. This is going to be quite a long video, as always with the seasonal stuff, so if you can't watch it all in one go, it will be placed on the autumn updates and forecast page with a written summary going over everything that we discussed in the video. And I'll get that up for you probably around 7 or 8 o'clock this evening. Right, so let's get on. We're going to start off with the JMA. So this is the JMA seasonal model. What we're seeing here is the 3-monthly forecast for the autumn of 2019. So this is the anomaly overall for the autumn of 2019 with the JMA. It's showing that we've got an area of below average heights out to our west with some above average heights up to the northwest. The tropical temperature anomaly, I should say, from the tropical and mid-latitude view looks like this, rather above average with the temperatures for this autumn. Precipitation wise, it's looking like that, a rather wetter than average autumn. This does mask a lot of intra-month variation though. All three autumn months, September, October, November, are varying with the pattern that the JMA is forecasting here for the autumn. We did the month by month breakdown video a couple of days ago. That video is actually on the catch-up page at GWV. So if you want to see how the JMA breaks down on a month-by-month basis, do please have a look at that. I haven't got time to go through it in this video, but rather mild and wet is the forecast overall for this autumn, but with a lot of variation month by month. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly from the Brazilian model. This one, as I say, always does things differently. So blue on this is extrapolating to above average heights, high pressure, yellow, orange and red, extrapolating to below average heights, which is low pressure. So this is the mean anomaly for the autumn of 2019. It's going for an area of above average heights, high pressure, to be centered over into the south and southwest of the country, quite with low pressure up to the north, jet stream coming through something a little bit like that. So we probably are still a little bit played by jet stream, but overall we're pretty close to a ridge of above average heights. Temperature anomalies for the autumn 2019 from a Brazilian model coming out warmer than average, a mild autumn being forecast. Precipitation anomalies close to average, dry than average to our south, bit wet than average up to the north and out to the northwest. It's a rather westerly autumn being forecast by the Brazilian model, I think. But with quite a bit of high pressure sitting to the south and southwest of us. This is CANSIP, so we've gone north from Brazil to Canada. This is mean sea level pressure anomaly from CANSIPs for the autumn of 2019. This is what it's showing at the moment. So it's going for some higher pressure to be sitting up to our north and some lower pressure out to our west-southwest, which will probably leave us bringing in a bit of an easterly type wind, and for the south it could be rather unsettled. For the north it would be drier. Temperature anomalies from CANSIPs for the autumn 2019 are being forecast to be very close to average, not a big deviation. either way. And precipitation anomalies from Can 6 for the autumn of 2019 look like that. Overall, a rather drier than average autumn. That's a bit different, Matt, when it's hinting at some northern blocking for the autumn, which leads us to perhaps a rather cooler, but also potentially slightly drier type autumn pattern. This is the multi-model probability forecast for temperature for September, October, November 2019, issued this month in August from the International Research Institute for Climate and Society, Earth Institute and Columbia University. The temperature probability for this autumn across Europe and across the UK in particular indicates a rather warmer than average autumn being forecast. So our probability is around the 40% mark for being above average during this autumn. It's not a big deviation, but not a strong. We're not strongly signaling a very warm autumn here, just signaling that it's likely to be a little bit warmer than average. Precipitation probability looks like that, so very close to average, maybe hinting at being a little bit on the wetter side for the western part of the country, but overall hints at being generally close to average. So a little bit milder than average and near normal for precipitation. This is Patel Penn's analog chart in terms of the 200 millibar height, only for the autumn 2019. Of course, Patel Penn is working within the umbrella of NOAA, but what Patel is doing is taking sea surface temperature anomalies across the Earth in any given month, in this case during July 2019, comparing back to past years that had a similar sea surface temperature anomaly, and then creating an analog space forecast going forwards. Very much in line with what Patel Penn was showing last month, we see a big area of above average heights, high pressure sitting over Scandinavia during this autumn and extending to the east of Scotland. That would leave us bringing in generally east or southeasterly type winds. Temperature anomalies with Patel Penn's analogues being forecast to be warmer than average, going for a warm autumn, quite significantly so, not just for the UK, but for many parts of Northern Europe. Bear in mind, autumn is a transitional season, so if you've got easterly winds in September, they'll likely be pretty warm, but if you've got easterly winds in November, they can be a little bit on the cold side. And then precipitation anomalies from Patel Penn's analogues, where you can see where the Scandinavian high is, and it is very much in over Scandinavia, much drier than average for Scandinavia. That does extend to the north of Scotland, looks a little bit wetter than average to our south. So everything about this tells us that Patel Penn is forecasting a Scandinavian high, easterly winds, and although the temperature anomaly is quite significantly warmer than average, if that was to carry on into the latter part of the autumn, into November, then we would be at risk of bringing in some colder and maybe even some quite wintry easterly winds. CFS-V2 next. So this model has not updated for some reason for over a week. So this was what the CFS-V2 was showing as of the 13th of August. I'm recording this on Thursday night, 22nd of August. If this updates on Friday the 23rd or early on Saturday the 24th, this could look a little bit different to what this is showing. So that's the reason. There's not been any cherry picking or anything like that. This is the latest chart as I can get it as of sort of 10:30 at night on the 22nd of August. Annoyingly, they have stopped updating the seasonal model at the CFS website for the past week. But if there is to be an update before you see this video on Saturday morning, then this could look a little bit different. Anyway, this is what it was showing as of the 13th of August. An area of below average heights sitting to our west, some above average heights over across the east part of Scandinavia, and generally bringing in a bit of a westerly flow. So it looks like it's rather unsettled type autumn pattern that was being forecast by the CFS around a week ago. Temperature anomalies from the CFS for the autumn 2019 being forecast to be warmer than average or close to a little bit above average for the UK and Ireland. Most parts of Europe are coming out warmer than average with CFS. And the precipitation anomaly is not particularly strong, but it does look a little bit wetter than average, generally across the west of Europe. So overall, an Atlantic-driven, rather mild but westerly and rather unsettled type autumn being forecast there by CFS-V2. ECMWF coming up next. Again, this is mean sea level pressure anomalies from the ECM System 5 long-range model. This one is going for low pressure to be to our north and northeast. No particular area of high pressure. Could leave us maybe with a little bit of a northwest-southeast trajectory to jet stream. And so that might be rather on the cool and unsettled side. Actually, the temperature anomaly with the ECM seasonal model is rather warmer than average for the autumn. And precipitation anomaly is very, very close to average, not a big deviation either way. Moving on to Meteo France at Copernicus. Again, mean sea level pressure anomalies for the autumn of 2019 from Meteo France. So this one with below average pressure, low pressure out to northwest around Greenland, Iceland, some high pressure back into west of Russia, otherwise not much else happening, probably bringing in a rather flat westerly type flow there, I would have thought. Temperature anomalies with Meteo France being forecast to be above average, a milder than average autumn being forecast. Precipitation anomalies, again, very close to average, not a big deviation. DWD is next, mean sea level pressure anomalies from the DWD German model shows low pressure around Greenland and Iceland, some high pressure across Scandinavia back into western Russia again, with feeding in kind of like a westerly type flow. So it looks rather Atlantic driven. Temperature anomalies with the DWD model generally a little bit on the warmer than outside. Not a big deviation, only around half a degree above average, but still nevertheless a little bit above average with the DWD model. And again, no real signal for precipitation in those white shaded areas, so no signal there. And we've got the CMC series of the Mediterranean model. So again, mean sea level pressure anomalies. This one's a little bit different for September, October, November. This one has some above average height sitting just to our west-southwest, so maybe a little bit more settled here. But still, again, rather westerly, rather Atlantic driven, you would have thought. Temperature anomalies with this one are closer to average as well. It's not as warm, so actually it's got no signal really for temperature anomalies, which I would conclude is probably a little bit cooler than the other models that I've just looked at. No real signal for precipitation either, but if anything, possibly hinting being a little bit drier than average, certainly to the north, to the west of the country. And then we're on to JAMSTEC. So this is what JAMSTEC is showing in terms of temperature anomalies, much warmer than average for the autumn of 2019. Not just the UK and Ireland, but through most parts of Central, Northern and Western Europe as well. A very mild autumn coming up, if that's right. Precipitation anomalies a little bit on the wetter side. So warm but wet is the forecast from JAMSTEC for this autumn. A little bit unsettled. And then we're on to Beijing Climate Centre. This is the penultimate mark, so we're drawing towards the end now. Beijing Climate Centre looking like this. This is the 500 millibar height anomaly. Has above average heights to our south-southwest, but it does also have a northern blocking signal as well, with high pressure up to the north, then probably a trough in the middle of the Atlantic. So it's a messy old pattern. It's a job to make us out on that view. So let's look at the 200 millibar height anomaly. You can see it a little bit clearer then. So it's got an area of above average height centered over Spain, some high pressure over Spain, but also with northern blocking too, which is rather unusual, although we did have that back last winter, interestingly. And then we'd have low pressure probably through the middle of the Atlantic through here. Jet stream would do something like that. So there's a bit of a fight going on between the blocking in the north and the high pressure centre around Iberia. Overall, I suspect it would still be that high pressure over Spain that would be largely the driver of things. So temperature anomalies are coming out warmer than average for the autumn of 2019, with the Beijing Climate Centre is going for a milder than average autumn, not just for the UK, but through most parts of Central and Northern Europe as well. Precipitation anomalies look like that. It's a little bit messy. So, western parts of the country a little bit wetter than average. Eastern parts of the country a little bit drier than average. Clearly, we've got a bit of a duel going on between high pressure over Spain, hints of northern blocking, and also low pressure in the middle of the Atlantic. So, a proper messy old autumn there from the Beijing Climate Centre. And then finally, we've got the UK Met Glow C5 long-range model. So this, again, mean sea level pressure anomalies for the autumn of 2019. Looks unsettled with this one. Low pressure is dominating out to the north and west of us. We're bringing in the jet stream like that as well. So this looks like a very unsettled autumn from UK Met. Temperature anomalies, as they have been throughout nearly all of these models, warmer than average. And precipitation anomalies significantly wetter than average. So again, similar to what Jamstech was showing, a warm but wet autumn being forecast by the UK Met seasonal model. So I think we follow on really with this from update number 2 in terms of the seasonal models. The second update was very much favouring Atlantic-driven weather, rather mild and warmer than average autumn, but also rather unsettled, rather wet autumn. I think that's been the general trend that has been maintained through this update. Now, there are one or two models that are doing something a little bit different. So, for example, we've got CANSIPS, which is rather different. We've also got Ptalpen's analogues, which is a little bit different, indicating a Scandinavian high. CANSIPS is the one model that probably indicates chance something a little bit colder this autumn. But otherwise, generally, the broad thrust of this final update is towards a rather Atlantic-driven, milder than average, but also wetter than average autumn. How mild, how wet, they are differing in that as well. So we've got the UK Met, for example, at quite an extreme end for warm, wet conditions. Other models like CFS, nowhere near as warm, but also nowhere near as wet either. But it is an Atlantic-driven signal maintained from update number 2 overall. So the long-range models are favouring a milder but wetter than average autumn. But how will that tally up with our analogues and with GWV's forecast? Well, you're going to find out a week today. On Saturday, same time, same place, we will release GWV's winter autumn. What am I talking about? Autumn 2019 forecast 1 week today on Saturday, the 31st of August. So when that's out of the way, I suppose what I was thinking about, when that's out of the way, then we're on into the winter updates. Come back later on for the weekend forecast and also for a week to 10 day video update. That video will be on the homepage this afternoon. This video will be placed on the autumn updates page and there'll be a written summary that goes with it as well. I'll get that up for you around 7 o'clock this evening. Tomorrow we're going to have the final GWV's Sunday roundup of the year. We'll also have to begin with Solar Sunday, so it's going to be Solar Sunday tomorrow as well, and a little winter sneak peek also tomorrow afternoon, and then we've got the historic weather video coming up on Bank Holiday Monday, which is going to be having a look at what are we looking at with this historic video. Let me think. Oh yes, it's going to be the autumn. Been a really long day. It's going to be the autumn and winter of 1938-1939. So I think that'll be quite an interesting watch on Bank Holiday Monday. And as far as the autumn stuff is concerned, that's it. We can do no more. So all that remains now is to issue the GWV's autumn forecast on Saturday, the 31st of August. And I've also got to tell you that Terry Scully's autumn forecast is going to be coming up in the next day or so. I think that'll probably be tomorrow, Sunday, might be Monday, because we've got a busy day coming up tomorrow. So it'll either be tomorrow or Monday. That's when we'll release Terry Scully's autumn forecast as well. Right, loads going on. Do please keep checking back to GWV's for all of the updates. Exciting times, a busy weekend. I don't know how I'm going to get it all in, but there we go. I will get it all in. So that's all for now, though, and thanks for watching.